Hello, I am so excited to share part 2 of my patio transformation. In part 1, if you haven't seen it above, we took a rock pit and turned it into a nice hardscape, and I got so much love from you guys and I'm so grateful for that. So I'm excited to share part 2 because I also promised at the end of that video that there was going to be a big surprise. When we finished the hardscape, we realized that we really would like some shade and something to cover that area. So we got a huge gazebo. It's a 20 by 12 and it covers the whole surface. So it took it from being very nice to now very luxurious. Then I decorated the whole space using items that I've already had, as well as items that I bought new and thrifted. So now it has a really nice collected look. So come along with me and I'll show you how we did it. So here we go. We had 5 huge boxes to unpack. There's no way we could have done this by ourselves, so we called in some help. This is my sweet dad and brother who showed up on this rainy day and helped us put up this huge gazebo. My dad was a self-employed contractor for over 30 years and he recently just retired, and he's so incredibly smart. We were so glad that he was able to help us with this. The instructions were great, but there was just so many parts and pieces and so many things to think about. On top of the rain, it was also very windy. He was so helpful. It was really nice to work in pairs when you were putting on the roofing because it was really a 2-person job. And this is my brother's new bride. They were just married in January. She is such a sweetheart. But the true hero of the day was my mom. She ran my kids to soccer and picked up pizza and basically was me while we did this. The next day, my daughter Charlotte voluntarily scrubbed all the pavers by herself. Next, I wanted to hang up lights, and so I've learned that if you're ever going to hang lights, make sure you have a suspension cable to twist tie the lights onto. That way there's no pressure on the electrical cord. This was really easy too because then I could play around with the cable while I figured out how far apart I wanted the lights. I actually used twist ties until I was sure, and then used zip ties to put them in more permanently. I was their afternoon snack entertainment, apparently. We were all so excited to get the lights up and to see how they looked. I love having the kids home with me on the weekend. I cannot wait for summer break. After 3 hours, I was very happy with the result. This outdoor on-off switch is great, that way you don't have to constantly unplug the lights. So the one corner of the gazebo extended into the grass, and we knew we wanted to give that a hardscape as well. But since we just did it, we really didn't want to do it again. We're also going to put in a new retaining wall. So I've seen this thing where you snap your fingers and it gets done, but it didn't work, so I tried something different. Just kidding, life's not that easy. More dirt. But hey, you gotta stay in shape somehow. That night, we had a very elegant dinner next to a giant hole. My daughter Juliet was on a volunteer basis, but she's really been pulling her own weight, so we decided to put her on the payroll. She cracks me up. She loves wearing bib overalls, but she cannot figure out how to do the snaps. She picked a very intense moment for us to stop and help her. I feel pretty strong, but these pavers were so heavy, and my husband had to lift the pavilion, so I had to do it by myself. Time to build a retaining wall, round 2. So this corner gave me a run for my money. Everything was at an odd angle, so it needed custom cuts. It took me a really long time to figure out how to get it. I think my brain was just really tired at this point. The hill's a little bit higher, so we did 2 layers of bricks here, and then the cap. So again, this corner was crazy, so I ended up having to hand chisel the cap just to make it look right on the end. The other side was super simple. You usually just have to cut the second to last piece and it's always a perfect fit. I knew this wall would have lots of little feet walking on it, so I used extra amounts of glue. It felt so good getting this done. Just like before, I filled the cracks in with a sand rock, which will be completely white once it's rinsed off. I also sealed the pavers before I started on the final edge. So there was quite a transition between the grass and the pavers, so I was trying to figure out what to do. And I loved this idea where it's this great edging and square pavers, and that way it keeps the rocks in and keeps the grass out and just gives it a very finished look. When you're doing finished projects, I feel like even the smallest details are really important, so I made sure each seam was perfectly even before I filled it with sand. And I cut the very last paver on an angle to make sure it was a perfect fit. When she hears the leaf blower, she comes running and stands right in front of me. Now it's time for the fun stuff. I found these Chase lounge chairs on Facebook Marketplace. They are original antiques from the 1950s, and I was absolutely in love with them, so I drove over an hour both ways to go get them. I knew they would create a really unique look, and I love vintage vibes. So I really wrestled with this idea, but I decided to paint them white, but leave the wheels black, because that's how they originally were. Plus all my other furniture is white. I also found this used swing, and it needed a new coat of paint, so I called in some help. I told them to get on their old clothes. I'm pretty sure they had a good time. Now it's time to go find some flowers for my planters. Every year, to help offset the cost of buying annuals, I sell my perennials $10 a bag, and it usually pays for that and then some. And I always try to buy clearance plants. I watch the racks, especially if there's been a heavy frost. People just put them out at really good deals. They just need a little bit of love, and they always come right back. I loved these modern metal planters that I got, but Juliet loved the boxes even more. Then at Lowe's, behind a huge rack, was this fountain that was from last year, and it was such a good deal. It was 70% off. Then I saw a local pallet flipper had these Project 62 tables, and I bought them with the intent of pushing them together if we ever wanted a coffee table. The neighbors' puppies came to visit and gave me their approval. I had just painted this wall last year, so it was perfect. I already had the paint. The curtains were so easy to put on. You just snap them in place. You put the curtain on the outside and then the screen part on the inside. I love my Aftershock headphones. I listen to books constantly. I'm actually on book number 40 for the year. I love to keep my mind busy. So Juliet saw me planting with gloves, and she didn't have any, so she made her own. When you fill up planters, you want to make sure and give them room to grow. And especially with clearance plants, make sure the roots are not root bound. We have a family of bluebirds that returns every year to raise a family, and the kids love watching them. So I just sat down to have an iced coffee, and my daughter Evie wanted to fill up the fountain, so I hooked up the hose for her so she could fill it up. As soon as it turned on, I was really disappointed by the sound. It sounded like water just pouring in the bucket. But then we fixed it by putting rocks in the bottom, and it fixed the echo. So I was a little disappointed by these chairs because they were bent and they didn't work right. So I decided to test my luck and borrow my dad's torch and heat it up. After about a half an hour, it was a little bit malleable. We really worked on it, and surprisingly, we fixed it. My husband Adam is such a supportive DIY wingman. It's much easier to try things when you have moral support. My rebar finally came in, so I added it to the supports. And now it's time for all the pretty things. This is a collection of things I've already owned, a few things that I got on clearance at HomeGoods and TJ Maxx. It was so fun to put them all together finally. I love the idea of a blanket basket, and you can just bring it in and out. I tried to add as many candles as possible for mood lighting and lots of plants. And I can't believe it, we are finally done. Just as a reminder, this is what it looked like 5 weeks ago. I couldn't even have imagined how nice this outdoor space was going to be. I can sit here and enjoy seeing the kids play in the backyard. I sat out here in the evening and it was raining, but I could still be out just listening to the sound of the rain on the roof. It's just so relaxing. The best part is that I love seeing my family enjoy it. They bring their homework out here, we have dinner every night, they bring their toys out here and play. It's just so sweet to see them enjoy it as well. So next week I'm going to host book club with my friends as well as Memorial Day then with my family. So I can't wait to show off our space and share it with them, and I hope it brings them as much joy as it has brought us. So I want to encourage you, go into your backyard and go look around and see if there's something that you can fix that will make it more enjoyable for yourself. I feel like oftentimes backyards are neglected and not really made a priority, but think of it as an extension of your home and also a reflection of the inside of your home. And then you can take it and share it with others. I hope you enjoyed this transformation and also gained encouragement and inspiration. In my next video, I'm also going to continue in the backyard and I'm going to plant my garden in my brand new garden boxes that I created. So thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!